I used to never read. Honestly, I didn't see the point. After my accident, after the brain injury, everything changed. When I realised I had to rebuild everything, I knew I couldn't live the same way anymore. What's up, YouTube? It's Ben, and today I'm ranking the 10 books I've read this year based on their impact they've had on me. Reading is something I kinda knew I should be doing, but I avoided, and therefore I would have called reading a weakness of mine. And in this recovery, I've tried to address my weaknesses to get better. I think during my final year at uni, I started to learn that books are valuable tools and contain great wisdom, and therefore can help you navigate areas of your life. So I read a few books last year. However, a goal at the start of this year was to read 10 books, and I've just completed my 10th book in December. Trying not to show you the rest of these goals, but the first one was 100 subscribers on YouTube. We hit that. And the next one was read 10 books. Let's go. These were the books that I started with last year. Great introduction to reading. Quite simple concepts. Good to get me into the flow of reading because I hadn't read a book since the age of about 12 before last year. And these are the books in order that I've read this year, and I'm going to break them all down one by one. But first of all, before I rank these books, I want to say that the period of time or how I felt when reading the books may have influenced their ranking, but I think the rankings are pretty reliable, pretty accurate. So at number 10, I'm going to put No Excuses by Brian Tracy, a powerful book on self-discipline. I actually read this book quite recently. I only rank it at number 10 because I think I've really reinforced the importance of consistency during my recovery. So a lot of it was a little repetitive, but it was brilliant. What I really like about it is that it's reinforcing that you need to take full responsibility for your life, even things that you would put blame on in the past. You need to take responsibility. And I like that. So it's a very good book. Maybe harsh to put it as number 10, but we'll move on. At number 9, I have The 5am Club by Robin Sharma. Again, would have ranked it higher if the rest of this list weren't class. When I was reading this book, I definitely was really into it, but I just think having had some time away from the book, I don't think it's had as big of an impact on me as I thought it would have. I think the part of the book that's going to stick with me is to create space in the mornings ahead of your day. I love the story that Robin Sharma used to write the book, and perhaps later in life I will read this book again and it will be of more impact to me. But right now, I don't know if waking up at 5 a.m. is entirely necessary. So books 10 and 9 were read quite recently, so that's kind of why I've ranked them where they are. But this was about the third or fourth book that I read, The Wealth That Money Can't Buy, and I will rank this at number 8. This is also by Robin Sharma. I think this is a good manual of values to focus on. Yeah, it gives you a good insight into what to focus on in life. It really makes you think that wealth isn't just financial. It's about having inner peace to have a more fulfilled life. I remember reading the final chapter of this book when I was travelling, and the scene that Robin Sharma paints of sitting at the edge of the cliff was euphoric. Could have been ranked higher, but again, the other books are just amazing. At number 7, I've got The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F by Mark Manson. I read this book this year at a good time. Again, sometimes you already know these things, but books really reinforce it and help you stand by these values. It's counterintuitive, but focusing too much to try and make something seem not there actually makes it more apparent. It really highlighted that it all comes down to your values, and for that reason I think it's a great book. It just missed out on like the heavy hitters purely because I felt like it had good information, but just wasn't like groundbreaking information to me. Okay, we're getting into some real sauce now. So we've got Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. Crazy book, a full guide to achieving things. Possibly the only reason why I don't rank it higher is because it is so long, over 500 pages. So it was a little long to read, and perhaps that's on me. Someone else may have ranked this a lot higher with a better reading endurance than me, but such a good book. Why I love it is that it really highlights the power of mastering your mind to achieve what you want. It really highlights what you need to start with if you want to achieve anything, and that is mastering your mental and emotional health. It puts forward that you need to master your emotions, your habits, and your decisions. This could have easily have been higher if I had better reading endurance. Tony Robbins, absolute killer, at number 6. And at number 5, I've put Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. I bought this book in early recovery and I never read it, but I decided to read it this year, and I don't know why I didn't read it sooner. I feel like you hear a lot of optimistic people talk about the growth mindset and you can do anything, and a lot of people are very skeptical about that because they think, in what proof is there that that can happen, but that you can improve in anything no matter what your ability is. And I love how this was a scientific way of saying that you can. It's all in your head. It highlights the difference between the growth and the fixed mindset, and after reading this book, I've really been able to identify what is growth, what is fixed mindset throughout my daily life. So it's definitely changed the way I think in a positive way. Pretty much just a really useful tool to go through life. So this book Mindset goes at number 5. And at number 4, just missing out on the top 3. And the top 3 are going to have to be rereads, reading them again because they're just so good. At number 4, I have The Courage to Be Disliked. I felt like this book is basically giving yourself therapy, because the book is a conversation between a youth and a philosopher, and the philosopher pretty much breaks down why the youth thinks what he thinks. It's so interesting. You realize that you may have these same thought patterns that are destructive. I also loved the book because it was empowering. It's based on Adlerian psychology, which is about freedom, responsibility, and detaching from the need for external approval. You gain freedom when you stop living for others' approval. One of the most inspiring messages of the book is that your past events don't define you. Everything that's happened up until this point does not define you. What you do from this point on is what your future will hold. I just found that so motivational, and maybe I'll reread it, but it's just missing out on the top 3. Okay, number 3 on the list is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Big impact on me, this book. A very eye-opening book. It's Napoleon Hill interviewing the devil in the forces that he uses to distract us. What's crazy is that the book was written in 1938, but pretty much all of the principles apply to today. It pretty much just gives you an awareness of what you're doing. The concept of drifting is the devil's main weapon, and it really opens your eyes to what you're doing in your daily life that could lead you to drifting, and you do not want to drift through life. Drifting is living without purpose and falling into what people call the matrix. But discipline and definiteness of purpose can set you free from drifting. Fear is what's holding you back. Most limitations are in your head. A timeless, eye-opening book, and that's why I'm going to read it again at some point. It's number 3. Napoleon Hill. At number 2, I have Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. The author was a plastic surgeon who discovered that changing someone's appearance did not change their life. They had to change their self-image in order to change their life. I heard this book described as the godfather of all self-help books because it seems like most self-help and achievement theories stem from these values, these principles. A big takeaway from it is that your self-image acts as a sort of thermostat for your success. You have to visualize your goals and feel them before you can achieve them. Your imagination is very powerful, and confidence is built, not born. So for that reason, this was actually the second time reading this, and just something that you should always go back to because it's so good. So powerful. Just missed out on the number 1 spot. And at number 1, the best book that I've read this year, it's had the biggest impact on me, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Again, just a timeless book with pretty much values to follow to improve your life, be successful. Based on interviews with over 500 successful people of the author Napoleon Hill's time. So there is sauce in this book. I would recommend reading this book out of any other book for your first book. What I like about Think and Grow Rich is that it's not really complicated. Again, I love the mindset angle that Napoleon Hill has. Success starts from a burning desire, and from that burning desire, faith and persistence create unstoppable momentum. And again, all about the power of your mind. Your subconscious mind directs your behavior based on your thoughts, and your thoughts materialize. Your thoughts become things. Okay, thanks for watching the video. That was me ranking the 10 books that I read this year. I tried to do a bit of research so that I was reading good books before I read each one. So let me know if you've read any and if you agree with my ranking. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Peace.
Savage, where you from? G-Block, where they bomb.